Faith Works. I'm your host, Yazmin, and today's guest is so special to me, and she's a fashion and a lifestyle expert. CHASSIE Post is always on trend, and she knows everything about fashion. You can find her giving style tips on The Today Show, Yahoo Lifestyle, and The Wendy Williams Show. CHASSIE loves having fun, crafting accessories at home, and she's taking her career to the next level. Welcome to the show, CHASSIE. So happy to have you here on Faith Works.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Yes, I love her
so much, and I'm so excited about your show.
Oh, thank you.
I love what it's all about.
Thank you.
And I've loved hearing about what faith means
Yes.
to so many different people.
It's important. So CHASSIE and I met at the Wendy Williams Show.
Yay!
CHASSIE is like a regular. We have her on the show all the time as a fashion expert, and we love producing fashion shows together.
Oh, we love it so much, and I'm so grateful
Yeah.
to be asked back on that show.
All right, CHASSIE, so it is time. Are you ready?
I'm ready!
Let's get spiritual. So CHASSIE, tell me, what is so important about the universe? Why is the universe so important?
Well, to me, the universe is, it's a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
It is, to me, a giant, pulsating, living, dynamic, full of vibration. It's an energy that is truly incredible.
Right.
And I've spent a long time filled with fear often, and thinking that maybe the universe wasn't always friendly.
Now, you mentioned that sometimes the universe can be fearful, right?
Yes.
So I want to know from you, why is it so important for us to put action behind our faith?
Well, I've read in places that, faith without works is dead, right? I've also believed and learned that faith is an action.
Yeah.
I learned that we can practice faith.
Yeah.
I always thought, I would look at you, it would be despair and compare. She's got it all together. Look.
It's not true.
Yazmin has her own show. Look at all she's doing. She's a producer at Wendy Williams. She's got it all figured out. And what I didn't realize is, first of all, nobody does it alone. If you have someone who you have the great fortune or gift to be able to talk to and really learn about their process, I've learned that a lot of people who are taking action and doing things are really taking little steps consistently, a day at a time, right?
Yeah, you have to be consistent.
Right? And I just used to think that it was all or nothing.
Right.
If it didn't hurt, it didn't work.
But it's baby steps.
Exactly.
Little by little.
Exactly. And I've never really grasped that.
Okay.
And so I think with faith, you have to practice it just like you would at the gym. Little exercises in faith. Today I'm going to step out in faith, no matter what my head says, no matter what anybody else says. Right?
Now, I love what you said about looking at other people's lives and feeling like, oh, they have it all together. What's wrong with me? With social media, we have a tendency of comparing other people's lives to ours. And we really shouldn't do that. But how do you refrain from competing with other people or the comparison? How do we just focus on ourselves?
That's a really great question, and I think you're right, especially in this age of, all our lives look very well produced on Instagram. I'm guilty of it. I only post when awesome things are happening.
Right. We don't post when we're feeling discouraged or when we're depressed, It's always the great stuff,
Right.
But
with a filter.
Yeah, exactly, with a filter. But sometimes we go through real life problems.
It's true.
But I sometimes may look at someone's page like, oh wow, she's making a lot of money. I'm still making this amount. Or wow, she's able to travel. I'm still only working in New York. There are little things that we may look at in other people's lives. And I just want to touch on that subject because I want to encourage people out there not to compare.
Yes, and I think the first most important step with that, because I think we all fall into that, we without noticing it. Sometimes I can be looking at it and be like, two things. Like if my head is in the right place, I can also look at that and find it really inspiring. And if I turn it around and say, oh my gosh, if she can do it, so can I, and look at it that way, I think that's really important. And then when it's really troublesome, when you can't get out of that, someone gave me a great tool. And it is, when we feel resentful or have envy or something like that, if you pray or if you ask the universe, whatever it is, whatever your spiritual practice is, that for that person that you're feeling the resentment towards, it eventually lifts. So I have done that before. There are people that I'm like, no way.
Building that muscle to shift.
Exactly. And I have heard friends who've used the same sort of tool, and it really works. Like all of a sudden I'm like, you go girl! And before I was like, so these are little things, and that just really brings me back to this idea of action and taking it no matter what my head says, and that is the struggle.
Well, another thing that has been very useful in Chassie's life is Chassie has gotten into meditation.
Yes.
Tell us about this journey.
Oh my goodness. So I, again, despair and compare. I see all these people who seem so zen and they're meditating and they talk about their meditation practice, and I felt, I'm too high strung. I can't meditate. And then my friends would say, you're exactly who needs to meditate. I clicked on the profile, my profile, and all of a sudden it said that I had been in meditation. Now this is under 10-minute increments, often under 5, but that I had been doing it consistently for 9 months, and I had been in meditation over 26 hours total. So that was my first oh my gosh.
So good.
The little increments do work.
So Chassie, as I told you in the beginning, she is very successful, has been a fashion and lifestyle expert for a very long time. How did you get into this career?
Well, I came to New York thinking that I would be an art gallerist.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I had a little art gallery, and I was working with emerging artists. And it's kind of like an indie label. Like if anybody really hits it, they leave you and go to a big one, But the point was, it was an amazing experience. I had so much fun, but I wasn't a very good business person. So I wasn't making any money, so I had to close it. But at the very end, I started renting out the space for film and photo shoots. And so I asked one of the stylists, do you need an assistant? Can I help you? And that's how I got into styling.
Wow, look at that.
And one day, a friend of mine called up and said, hey, we've got a shoot in Houston with Entertainment Tonight.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, I need someone to come talk about secret platinum clear gel.
Okay.
Who knows fashion, and who's been in front of a camera before, and I'm like, sign me up.
Yes. Chassie's very fashion forward, okay? She knows about trends before they become a trend. Thank you for my Python boots that you gave me. But P.S., I got those Python boots before everyone was wearing them. So Chassie, how are you able to develop what's going to be in style?
Well, I think I'm really attracted to, there's a certain lane, as you said, that I'm really attracted to, and that is anything that sparkles, anything that is a wild pattern. You can tell by here, bold colors, butterflies. More is more in my books.
We've talked about being successful, but sometimes we have this dream job that we want and we go for, and then we get let down and we're told no.
Yes.
How do you handle situations like that?
It's happened so many times. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I get that job, I'm a star! It's all gonna come through for me. I mean, every time. And guess what? The things that have happened in my crazy, twists and turns, if I plotted that map and said, there is no way that I could have planned to where I am now, ever. And what I did is I just kept showing polished. You can't help
but
it, right?
you know that it may lead to something bigger and better. And I think that's the key.
Yeah. We were just kind of talking. Jasmine is New Yorker of the Week, everybody. Okay?
I am.
New Yorker of the Week.
Kiernan introduces us to our New Yorker of the Week.
Yazmin Ramos lives by the saying, if you look good, you feel good.
I like the specks of gold that it has in the middle.
That message is the driving force behind her nonprofit, Polished Angels. Ramos brings the salon to those who can't easily get to one, seniors living in nursing homes.
We need to pamper one another. We love to get pampered. Like even myself, when I get my nails done.
I think you're New Yorker of the Year, but she does so much good for other people. Which, you know, your service in Polished Angels, and you've always been about service to others.
It's very important to me.
And one great thing about service to others is when you're doing something for someone else, you're not thinking about yourself. So like that is such a gift.
Now Chassie's also a crafter. She does DIY projects. I love your Crafternoon collection.
Thank
so
you.
talk to us a little bit about it.
Oh, that was just inspired by my love of sparkly things. You can see this is a little example of one of my mad crafting.
Yes.
But it was just, I love sequins. I like burlap. I like animals in sequins, and so I started making these little bags.
Yeah, the plushes, they're really cute.
So they're super cute. And then I started doing some videos with my friend who is a master crafter, Elizabeth T. Gordon. So she'd come over and we do these, you know, craft projects.
It's so cute.
Fun.
Now Chassie is also a mom.
Aw,
She has a handsome son named Brody.
yes.
He also likes to dance a little bit. I started teaching your mom some dance moves.
She say, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mom. I'm sorry. 50 guns, I even got it tatted on me.
How do you balance like your career and also family?
Oh, wow. Well, yes. He does love to dance, as does my mom, who you met, who's so
She's
sweet.
a doll.
So how do I balance it? I didn't do a very good job in the beginning at all. I realized, you know, New Yorkers, a lot of us are intense.
Yeah.
You know, we
are.
have our, what we think is eyes on the prize and head down, and I gotta do this, I gotta do this. And I remember one day I looked up and I was sitting in the office with the person I was working with. We were working on a segment for something, and I looked up and I'm like, oh my God, my son is 3. My son is 3, and I haven't been there. And
Wow.
so, as much as I want here. So I'm so grateful for that realization, and that again is habit and practice, because I could get going fast and it seems so important, like the world of television. We need it now. It's so urgent. It's so important. Well, guess what? You know what's urgent and important? My little guy. And so the more I can keep that in frame, and I've been, and this is where meditation and a spiritual practice really has come in for me, is in the morning I can remind myself every day to slow down, because I forget. I could do a spiritual practice and meditation every single day for 60 days. I would still forget it the next morning. So every day I use that opportunity to remind myself to slow down and then try to lead by example and show my son that it can be fun, it can be easy, it can be light.
So what's next for Chassie Post?
Wow. Well, I so relate to you and striking out and doing it on your own. I'm so proud of you.
Thank
And
you.
I've known you for a long time.
You have.
And you have been a star from day one. And day one.
Listen, don't make me cry on my show, Chassie.
Day one. And I think anyone who's ever met you can see your light and how much you give. And you've given so much to me, and you bring a joy that is really, really beautiful. So I'm just so honored to be a part of your series, of your show. And we've talked a little bit about, like ideas. I think we both said, we've got like, if I showed you my phone in my notes section, I've got like 10 years of ideas that I never acted on, because I thought it had to be perfect. I thought it had to be all figured out. I thought it had to be one way. And what you're proving, and what, luckily lately, I have struck out, and with my sister-in-law, we've started, we just shot the pilot episode for our show.
So good.
It's called Chic and Awe.
Okay.
And it's not anything like I thought it would be. You are a living example that, yes, you can do it, whatever that is, just by doing it. And you don't have to have like a 40-person film crew.
Yeah.
You know, now.
No,
like,
no.
You don't. You
No.
can just do it, and it feels so
It is,
good.
and it helps with manifestation.
Right.
Because you may not have that many people part of your crew now, but eventually we will.
That's right.
And we'll be in the studio.
I'm gonna be calling, remember me?
Now it's time to get my favorite part, Chassie. So here we have the treasure box.
Oh my gosh,
So-
look, it's sparkling.
And it's iridescent, just like my shoe.
That.
So I want you to put your hand in the box, close your eyes, and see what you get. Yes. Oh, that's pretty.
So
It's got a
awesome.
feather.
So, this is so,
I know you do.
so awesome.
Thank
so
you,
guys,
Chassie. So you can remember Faith works.
look what I've got. I've
forever.
got feathers,
Let me help you out here. It's like a
Like-
leather.
beautiful
Bracelet.
stacked
Uh-huh.
leather bracelets to remember
Yeah.
this beautiful experience by.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's
Look,
perfect for you. It's
it
just
is so
feathers.
perfect.
You're
Thank you
welcome,
so
Chassie.
much.
Mwah. I love you.
I love you.
Yes. All right. So
Go
Chassie,
Faith Works.
go Faith Works. Thank you. So tell us before you go, do you have a testimony or confession you want to make?
Just try to see the positive side. You know, when you can.
Thank you, Chassie, for being on the show. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you.
Yes, your story was amazing. Thank you everyone for watching. Please subscribe. As you know, a new episode every week. And Chassie, we gotta remind people, walk by faith.
Not by sight.
That's right. See you next time.